that we could look at as an organization that might be similar to our water rebate program, which would give us the ability to help make that a more affordable service to those citizens in a way that is much more expeditious and maybe less costly, of course, than trying to roll out a municipal broadband to meet that objective. So that's just a couple examples. If the example is, we hear from our constituents that maybe our performance of our network is bad. Well, there's a lot of pieces that go into where that network performance issue may lie, and a perceived problem might be different than an actual problem. So that would be one in which we'd want to work with those providers in our community to see if we can get some statistics, get some pressure put on them a little bit to improve that performance level. So those are some of the things that we want to think about, really, in terms of what are the higher level objectives? What are the issues? What are the problems we're trying to address? Maybe municipal broadband's one, but maybe there's some alternatives that will help us to get to where we need to be. The second question is, if we did decide to pursue a municipal broadband initiative, what are the specific objectives associated with that? I mentioned one of them already, is a digital inclusion, or maybe it's additional consumer choice, so that consumers have one more vendor to choose from when it comes to digital internet services. Maybe it's risk aversion. Maybe that's another one of the objectives that we would have if we decided to go down that road. How do we minimize our risk in deploying a municipal broadband network? And that may be through a couple different models that are possible. Another one might be I want to make sure we have enough to cover our CapEx cost of deploying a network infrastructure. Another one might be to improve network performance like we already talked about. So there might be a number of objectives, and some of those objectives could truly be competing with one another. So we'd need to decide how those objectives would be prioritized. And then the other thing we'd want to look at, if we were to pursue it, is really what model of municipal broadband or community broadband really makes sense. Because the city could take on a role like some organizations, like Longmont has done. Keep in mind, Longmont owns their electric utility. When you already own the pipe into the house, deploying a broadband infrastructure has fewer complexities with it. It's not that it's easy, it has fewer complexities with it if you already own the pipes getting into people's houses. So we don't have an electric utility, obviously, so it would be much more complex and expensive. But the first option is a city-owned and a city-operated municipal broadband network. If we chose to do that, we need to anticipate what those costs are going to be and what that time frame could look like for doing that. Again, if there's some objectives and some problems we're trying to solve that can be solved in with other strategies, that's probably more expeditious than doing a government-owned and operated network. A second way to do it would be a network that's government-owned but privately operated. Still requires a huge CapEx investment on the part of local government, but it's operated and managed by the private sector. So a little less complexity on the back end, still certainly a lot of cost on the front end to do that. A third model might be to have a private-owned and private-operated, but with some city involvement, allowing for that private sector to leverage some of that infrastructure that we have in place, or some of those buildings, or whatever it might be, to help them in achieving deployment of a network. And in return for that, maybe having some opportunity to influence what their pricing model looks like, or how their services are delivered, or what the service level agreements look like. I don't know of another organization that's done that. I'm just saying that's probably an option, maybe to try to do that negotiation up front. So question 4 on that list: how do technology changes and challenges impact our decision to engage in a municipal broadband? If we think municipal broadband is the decision, then there's some things that we should probably think about. And if we think back on some other technology changes and how industry has changed over the years, you think about the newspaper, what happened to it? Well, the internet came along, right? No more newspaper, very few newspapers, right? We think about the landlines in our houses, our homes. We used to have a landline, but it's been years since we've had one of those. Why? Because it was a disruptive technology that came along called the cell phone. The cell phone eliminated the need for us to really have landlines, right? So what's happened to cable TV over the last few years, right? We're seeing a lot of streaming over the top it's the Rokus, it's the Amazons, it's the Sling TV, it's the other thing. So it has become, the internet has become disruptive for the cable TV industry. What's happened with the pocket cameras, with GPSs, with MP3 players, right? Who's going out to buy MP3 players for Christmas? You don't need them. They're all on the smartphone now. So those are disruptive technologies. So a question we need to ask ourselves as a city is, what potential disruptive technologies might be on the horizon that would potentially impact our ability to succeed in a municipal broadband deployment? So as I look out to the future, as I try to continually do, as I look out to the future and look at what those disruptive technologies are, I think back on a September 2017 Forbes panel discussion where they invited in 3 independent experts in the cellular and the wireless field, and they had a presentation called The Dawn of 5G. And it says, will wireless kill the broadband star? And it's a good question because when you think of the phone technology, right? You had your original cell phone, it's kind of slow. Then you got data on your cell phone, you had 2G, you had 3G, you had 4G. What's the next thing? The next thing's 5G. And not to get into the technical details, but 5G provides a much greater opportunity to have bigger bandwidth, 100 times greater than what's available on 4G. Much, much more capacity on a 5G network and a 4G network. So that raises some interesting questions and some that were addressed by this panel during this discussion with Forbes magazine. And some of those questions are, how long will it take 5G to really upset the competitive balance when it comes to providing broadband services? Another one of those questions is, will consumers just pay for one broadband connection in the future instead of 2 like we do today, right? We pay for our Comcast, our CenturyLink coming in our house. We also pay for broadband on our hip, right? We pay for broadband here. Do we really need to do that in the future? And will consumers opt for one broadband service rather than 2? And will 5G really be a good alternative to the coax and the fiber connection into people's homes today? And so there's actually research going on and there's experimenting going on right now with modems that mount in windows and outdoor antennas that will bring that 5G service into the home over the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, that will provide for that broadband service in your house. Now you have one service provider on 2 devices. So
David,
those are the...
I need to stop you there.
Yes.
We got about 2 minutes and we need
Okay.
to start, so hang on to that. We'll have to come back.
Okay, we'll come back.
Give us some stuff.
So I was pushing fast, so I think I probably have some questions.
Are people going to be sitting in here during the meeting? Should we take our,
Can we just leave our notes here and then come back to them, or do you need us to clear this out?
It typically not, shouldn't be anybody.
Sometimes Chief Carlson does, but we trust him, right?
I hope so.
I mean,
Okay, guys, let's go at 7:30. Good evening. Welcome to the last of the November City Council meetings for 2017. As we typically do, we'll start the evening with our Pledge of Allegiance. For those of you that are in the back or in the front, there's flags at both ends of the room, so please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Parker, would you take the roll, please?
Atchison.
Here.
Byrd. DeCambra.
Here.
Demott.
Here.
Pinter.
Here.
Seitz. Scully.
Okay. Welcome to our two new members again. Be the first night we get to do a lot of business instead of just celebrating, but thank you for joining us tonight. First item on the agenda will be the consideration of the minutes of the preceding meeting. We have a motion for that, please. Pinter, there you go. Ms. Pinter, if you would, please.
Yes, I move that the City Council approve the minutes of the November 13th, 2017 meeting as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there are no objections, all those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now for the good part. We have a number of employees who are joining us tonight who are going to be recognized for anywhere from 20 to 40 years of service. And we appreciate them coming tonight. Ms. Byrd, if you would please start us with the 20s.
See. So, can I have Tim Guthrie come to the front?
Guys, if you have
And if you have family,
bring your family with you.
please bring your family.
The reluctant moms, that's okay. We're going to bring you too.
It's great. There, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi there. Thank you for coming tonight. Hi. Hi there. Thank you all for being here tonight. So we're going to say a few words about Tim. So Tim Guthrie moved to Shaw Heights in the Westminster area when he was 3 years old. Tim attended school at Gregory Hill Elementary, Shaw Heights Middle School, and then Westminster High School. He began his career with the City of Westminster in 1997 as a Communications Specialist 1 with Police and Fire Dispatch. Towards the end of his 2-year tenure in dispatch, he began attending the Police Academy at Red Rocks Community College. Tim attended the academy full-time during the week and worked part-time in dispatch on the weekends, graduating in May 1999. In August 1999, Tim was hired as a police officer. He was assigned to the patrol division and spent 2 years working as a patrol officer. In 2001, he applied and was accepted as the school resource officer, the SRO, at Westminster High School and served as the SRO for 5 years and attained the rank of senior police officer. Tim transferred back to patrol for about 6 months and then was accepted into the motorcycle unit in the traffic division. Tim was certified as a Level 3 accident reconstruction technician and served on the accident reconstruction team. He also began teaching Alive at 25, educating young drivers for the Colorado State Patrol Family Foundation on behalf of the Westminster Police Department. Tim also took on the assignment of coordinating the police department's involvement in the 4th of July celebration at City Park. During his time at the police department, Tim also served on the crisis intervention team, the PD Awards Board, and served as a DUI instructor and field training instructor training new officers. Towards the end of his career at the PD, he returned to school to obtain his emergency medical technician and firefighter 1 and 2 certifications. That's incredible. In 2013, Tim transferred to the Westminster Fire Department as a firefighter 1. In 2016, he applied for paramedic school and was accepted to St. Anthony's Hospital Paramedic Cycle 99. Tim completed paramedic school and was promoted to the position of fire paramedic in September 2016, which is where he currently serves. He is assigned to Medic 1 at Fire Station 1. Tim and Amy have been married for 9 years. They have an 8-year-old son, Jacob. Tim stays busy by teaching paramedic and EMT classes for St. Anthony and Front Range Community College, playing sports and other activities with Jacob, and serves as a high school youth worker at his church. Tim also continues to volunteer his time as a firefighter for the Pleasant View Fire Department in Golden. Let's give him a round of applause. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service to our city. And do you have a few words that you'd like to share with everybody?
Well, not really. No, I've enjoyed my time with the city, and I look forward to several more. So.
Well, we are so fortunate to have you. You've done so much for us, and on behalf of the council, congratulations and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Oh, sure. It's out of the way.
Whoops, sorry. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Great. Thank you all so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Yes, congratulations. So can I have Veronica Smith come to the front and your family also, please? Everyone who's brave enough to come up here. If I can do it, you can do it, right? Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. So Veronica Smith began working for the city in 1997 when the library only had one computer server. The few public computers that were available had green text on a black screen. I remember those. And were only for searching the library catalog. The library, as we know, has grown to have over 120 full-service computers, 26 servers, and a virtual library branch. Over the years, Veronica has had the opportunity to supervise almost every work group in the library, but her favorite group is still automation services. In addition to working at the library, Veronica has been privileged to serve on the, is it ERAT? Mm-hmm. On the ERAT committee for several years, helping recognize the accomplishments of fellow employees. Veronica is married with 3 children and has 2 Havanese dogs, one of which was adopted as a rescue this summer. Veronica's favorite hobbies are growing a vegetable garden, crocheting, reading children's books to elementary school kids, and spending time with her family. Congratulations to Veronica. Anything you'd like to say?
Well, just that 20 years have gone by really fast, and I'm glad we don't have those computers anymore.
Me too. They're much easier to use now, right? I
Yeah.
totally agree. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here again, and
thank you.
congratulations.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I please have Cindy Kale and her family come to the front? Oh, look at that. Hi there, congratulations. Yes. Look at it. All the cuties. Look at this. Great. Okay, are you ready? Wow, hey, thanks for being here. So, all right, so Cindy Kale was hired in November 1997 with the city as an administrative coordinator in the Department of Community Development. Cindy worked for John Carpenter, sitting right back there. Director of Community Development as an executive assistant until August of 2016. Cindy is currently working under the direction of Dave Downing as his executive assistant. Cindy is proud to have had the opportunity to work with such visionary staff in the city for the past 20 years, the city council members who have been passionate about the city's future, and the city managers who have demonstrated such exemplary commitment to the spirit values in the organization and the community. Cindy's family includes 3 daughters, 2 son-in-laws, and 5 grandchildren who all live in the Denver metro area. Cindy enjoys to travel, garden, and spending time with her family. She is thankful that her children grew up in Westminster and for the wonderful opportunity she has had to work for the city of Westminster for the past 20 years. Please, let's give her a round of applause. anything you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I just have a big shout out for Westminster because every employee here is treated on an individual basis. I mean, Westminster employees are really taken care of really well here. And it's just what happens here. It's a great place to work.
We're lucky to have you. Thank you very much. Ready? Should we be in a picture? We can be in a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I'll try to make it easy.
Jack and Al, do you want to hold my here? Jack, hold up. Hold it back. There you go.
She would just have to take it.
2, 3. Oh, keep turning. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you again. Okay, Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill and family. Just you and me, okay. It's great. Congratulations. Yes. Okay, so Jeremy Hill was hired in 1997 as a part-time benefited lifeguard at the Swim and Fitness Center. He later worked in other positions at the same facility, including guest relations clerk and assistant pool manager. In 2001, Jeremy moved to the fire department as a management intern, and in 2003, he earned a firefighter position. He was promoted to paramedic in 2005 and to fire lieutenant EMS field coordinator in 2016. That's outstanding. Some of Jeremy's work accomplishments include attending the city's first cycle of the Leadership Development Program and has received 5 life-saving medals. Jeremy enjoys spending time with his wife and 1-year-old daughter and spends other free time snowboarding, fly fishing, reading, and working out. Congratulations. Got anything you would like to share with the audience tonight?
Not really, just it's gone by fast. Look forward to a few more years.
Yes, well, thank you for everything you've done for our city.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations.
Ms. Seitz, would you please? While Ms. Seitz is getting ready, we did have people who were scheduled to be here for the 25-year and the 35-year, but none of those were able to join us tonight. So we'll make sure that, especially the 25-year where there's a little bonus that goes with that, we'll make sure they get the check.
All right, can I have J.C. Ingdahl and his family? Just you, okay. Well, you're still welcome. Come on up.
I got a job.
It's not that high stakes. All right. J.C. Ingdahl was hired by the fire department in November 1987. He was promoted to fire engineer in March 1993. In addition to his engineer duties, J.C. has been a member of the department's fitness committee since its inception, assisting with the annual fitness testing and record keeping for his shift. J.C. also maintains the uniform store at Station 6 for his shift, where uniform attire is dispersed to all of his fellow crew members. He is a recipient of the Westminster Life Saving Award and has been a part of several Teams in Action awards, and is a past member of both the Combat Challenge team and Hazmat team. When off-duty, J.C. enjoys playing volleyball, where he recently traveled to St. George, Utah to compete in the Huntsman World Senior Games with a team representing Colorado. He also enjoys drag racing in his not in Westminster though, I'm sure, in his 1969 Dodge Charger at Bandimere Speedway. Okay, Chief Carlson, it's all right, in the summer. So thank you so much for your years of service, and thank you for the service to our residents.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been fast, and I feel blessed. Really do. So thanks so much.
Well, great. All right. Can I have Mike Lynch and his family?
Firefighters are rolling alone.
Yeah, you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Casey.
Meet you.
I will hand you this.
Okay.
All right. Mike Lynch was hired as a firefighter too in November 1987. He was promoted through the ranks to engineer in July of 1991. Mike became a lieutenant in May 2004. Mike served on the apparatus committee for 20 years, assisting the department with the procurement of major fire apparatus. Mike was a member of the technical rescue team for over 7 years. The Westminster Public Safety Recognition Foundation has presented Mike with 2 awards. In 2004, he received the Life-Saving Medal for his actions at an early morning fire in July 1997. Using a ladder, he saved the lives of 3 residents that were trapped on an upper floor of a burning apartment building. In 2003, Mike received a life-saving pin for his assistance in rescuing a potential drowning victim at Kettner Reservoir. While off-duty, Mike's hobbies include golfing, working out, and spending time with his family. His wife Melanie, 2 daughters, Kelly and Kendra, and granddaughter, Raylyn. So, thank you so much. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, it's been great, 30 years, and looking forward to the next 10.
Well, thank you for your service.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get Chris Reddick to join us and any family members as well?
Well, I brought my girlfriend.
Come on down. Hi. Nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you, Chris. So I will hand you this while I read this. Chris Reddick joined the Westminster Fire Department as a volunteer firefighter in 1984 until he was hired as a career firefighter in November 1987. Chris is a state certified paramedic and advanced his career at the city to his present position of fire engineer. As a fire engineer, Chris is responsible to drive the fire apparatus to all fire and medical emergencies, as well as maintain the equipment of the truck. Chris is also an expert with small engines, and he services and repairs most of the fire department's small engines. Chris received the fire department's life-saving medal for responding to an apartment building fire in July 1997, where he rescued an elderly woman and a child from their burning apartment. Thank you. Chris is proud to be a Colorado native of 62 years, having been born, raised, and still resides in Arvada. Chris has 2 children, a 29-year-old daughter that graduated from CU with a degree in Japanese language and is now teaching in Japan, and a 27-year-old son who is attending college and working for Boise Cascade. In his spare time, Chris enjoys bike riding, hiking, and working out at the gym, cooking, and most of all, gardening. It's not on here, but I did just understand that Chris has announced his retirement.
Yes.
So thank you so much for serving our city for 30 years, and best of luck in whatever the future holds for you.
Well, thank you. It's been a great ride. And it's been wonderful working for the city. It's been blessed. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
One, two, three. 1, 2.
Mr. Bill Morgan. Good. Since you have such a big group, why don't you tell us who you brought?
I got my wife Donna here, and my daughter Robin, and my son Joey.
Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And Bill, we'll start with this. But before I read this, this is something we don't get to do very often. Bill is celebrating 40 years with the city. Now, we've had a few, but very few of those. And for someone to stay with one organization for as many years as they have, it's like we have some ownership of him somewhere along the line. But first and foremost,
I'll be locked down.
yeah, thank you to the family.
Thank you.
To have someone stay with any company, anywhere, for this long a period is very unusual, especially in today's world. It's very easy to jump around, but we appreciate very much the dedication that he and his family have given to Westminster. Bill was hired in July of 1977 with the Public Works and Utilities Department. He spent 30 of his 40-year career in the street maintenance division. Bill started as a maintenance worker and was promoted to senior maintenance worker in November of 1977. He was then promoted to his current position of equipment operator in April of 1980. In 1996, Bill transferred to the utility division where he spent 10 years and was given an opportunity to learn the utility side of the department. While working for utilities, he served on the construction crew running heavy equipment and was part of the first crew to install 4 miles of new water main lines. In 2006, Bill transferred back to the street division where he has served for 9 years as an operator 1. In 2016, he was promoted to operator 2, which is his current title. During his careers, Bill's many awards include national champion in the snowplow rodeo, tandem axle truck in both 1989 and again in 2006. He placed 3rd in loader competition in 2009. As of 2016, Bill has stopped competing and now serves on the APW Snow Rodeo Committee. He has received several extra mile awards and 2 teams in action awards. One is with the police department for the work he helped with on the firing range, and another one with parks, recs, and libraries for his help with building, you all might know, the Jessica Ridgway Park. Bill enjoys spending time traveling with his family, golfing and fishing whenever he has the chance, and is currently attempting to keep up with the busy demands of his granddaughter's new college experience.
Or my daughter.
Your daughter.
No granddaughter.
I will kill you both.
He didn't let the secret out. And it was my mistake. But for Bill and his family to stay with us this long has really been a privilege to have him and the commitment that Bill has brought to our community. And I'm sure Max and the others have worked alongside of Bill for a good many years. So again, thank you for 40 years of service to the Westminster.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'll get a picture first. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Now, it's your opportunity.
Well, I could say a couple things. This wouldn't be possible for the help of my team members on the crew and my boss, Dave Cantu, and there's another gentleman that just passed away a couple years ago. He had the most tenure here at the city, Sam LeConte, 47. He had 47 years. And I just hope he's looking down on me, and I'm making him proud that he did hire me. And it's been a good run, and hopefully my health will keep up and I can do this for another 10 years.
We may have to.
Maybe I could outdo my subordinate there. I could outdo him.
Well, if you get another 10 years, we're going to have to think about a 50-year award because we've never had one.
Yeah. So, yeah. But, yeah, if it wasn't for Sam LeConte and Dave Cantu, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been able to make it this long. So I just want
thank you, Bill.
I want to recognize them. So.
Good. Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Moving on in our agenda, the next part is for you, the residents. This is our citizen communication piece where we allow anyone who has an item they'd like to bring forward to the council for a period of up to 5 minutes. We have no one who's signed up in the back, but is there anyone in the audience who missed the sign-up sheet that would like to come forward at this time? And if this is the time for you to get the children and escape, this is it. But thank you all for coming tonight. Okay, seeing no one coming forward, we'll move on. Report of city officials, Mr. Tripp, if you would, please.
I just want to express my appreciation and thanks in recognition of the employees who were recognized tonight. Billy, Morgan, and the rest of them, unbelievable careers with the city. It just, I don't know, it takes your breath away. And we have a number of people who are in that 35 to 45-year range. And you're right, Mayor, it's just remarkable to have people that stick with an organization that long. Bill recognized a couple of his supervisors. I think that's part of the reason. We've got really good team leadership and very, very proud to work with these folks.
Next item on the agenda, we city council comments. Do we have anyone from the council has any comments they'd like to offer tonight? Ms. Seitz?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to mention that about a week and a half ago, City Manager Don Tripp and I both went to Charlotte, North Carolina to attend the National League of Cities Conference. I would have to say it was an incredibly inspirational and motivating conference. Cities across the United States are all being asked to do more with less. The scope and role of local city governments is being expanded because their counterparts in the state and federal office are not able to accomplish what we can accomplish. One of the reasons we as cities are so effective is because the amazing team that we have in the staff that work for the cities. So first off, I always leave these conferences so impressed with where Westminster's at and the best practices that we always employ or already employ, but then also inspired about how we can improve as well. So just wanted to say it was a great conference. I came back wanting to do more and work harder, so thank you.
Any other members of council? Mr. DeMott.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that I was lucky enough to attend a ribbon cutting of Liberty Communications with the Metro North Chamber. It's a communications company who just recently relocated to Westminster. It was pretty exciting to get to join that, see them come to the city. Two other things I wanted to quickly mention. This Friday from 5 to 8 is Sonic Night for the Seafire Group. For those of you not familiar with Seafire, that is the Fire Department Citizen Academy Alumni Group. We raise money for different needs that the department may have, as well as volunteer with them. So it's a lot of good residents who volunteer with our fire department. And from 5 to 8, 10% of whatever you buy at Sonic off 100th and Wadsworth goes to Seafire, which helps us support the fire department. So it's a great time to get out with your neighbors and support a business here in Westminster. The last thing quickly I wanted to mention is December 7th on 73rd Avenue, 6 to 10, is the hometown Christmas tree lighting. So we have one of the largest living Christmas trees in the state, in the city of Westminster. And so that is a good time to go out and as well as visit local businesses along 73rd Avenue. All the shops there will be open during that festivities from 6 to 10.
Good, thanks, David. Any other comments from council? A couple of events just to make sure that people get aware of if they've missed it. We have a city council town hall meeting this Wednesday night at 6:45. This will be held at Covenant Village. That is open to all the public. We invite you to come and attend with that. Then on Thursday night, the 30th, the Metro North Chamber holiday lighting will be held just down the street from here at the mini golf area at 96th and Sheridan. Then back here at City Hall on Saturday night, beginning at 5:30, we'll have activities here. And if you bring the little ones, I think the little fat guy in a red suit, white beard, tends to show up here. Fire department usually able to get him off the chimney and get him down safely and bring him here on one of our fire trucks. A lot of activities are planned for the city that night, so if you have an opportunity, bring your families. That is a big deal for our Parks and Recs department. They've done a great job. If you happen to see the lights, wait till you see the rest of them. So we've got a great deal for you on Saturday night, so stop by. There are usually a lot of goodies and stuff to pick up here, but other than that, it's just good family entertainment. So if you have an opportunity, come on by. Any other comments from council? If not, we'll move to the consent agenda. And at this point, I will take a motion on the consent agenda. Mr. Canberra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the City Council adopt the consent agenda items 8A through 8E.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Seitz? Okay. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please, as soon as I get this thing up. Okay, all those in favor signify with the button on your item. And the motion carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item up on the agenda will be public hearing and other items. If I get my agenda to stay up. We have nothing on item 9, which is appointment and resignation, so we'll move on to public hearings and other new business. Public hearing and second reading on Councilor's Bill number 41. Council, Ms. Byrd.
Are you looking for a motion? I'm sorry. Oh,
Yep.
to start the public hearing?
Yep, we'll go ahead.
Okay, so I move to pass Councilor's Bill number 41 on second reading, adopting the 2015 editions of the International Building and Fire Codes with amendments in the areas of swimming pools and spas, distilleries, and general location-specific amendments.
Okay, and thank you, but that was my fault. I needed to open up the public hearing, so I apologize, but I'll come back to you. So at this point, we will open up the public hearing. Is there any reports from staff on this? Nothing? Okay. Is there any comments from anyone in the public that has any comments on the item that we are about to hear? Is on the building code? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I have a motion before us for item bill number 41. Ms. Seitz, do you have a second on that?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? All right, seeing none, that is a roll call vote. Ms. Parker?
Atchison.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
DeCambra.
Yes.
Demott. Pinter.
Yes.
Seitz.
Yes.
Scully.
Yes.
Okay, I need one more vote up, guys. Probably going to be mine again. Yep, it is. Never hurts.
Gotta keep an eye on
Again,
that
yeah,
verb, Atchison.
motion carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item up is Council's Bill number 43. And Ms. Pinter.
Yes, I move to pass Councilor's Bill number 43 on first reading, appropriating grant funds to the 2018 general fund budget in the amount of $363,246 for the Rocky Mountain High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Grant.
Second.
Ms. Byrd. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? All right, seeing none, again, a roll call vote, please.
Byrd.
Yes.
DeCambra.
Yes.
Demott. Pinter. Seitz.
Yes.
Scully.
Yes.
Atchison.
Yes. Okay. And the motion again carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item is item B2. This is an authorization to receive and administer the 2018 Rocky Mountain High Drug Trafficking Grant. Mr. Canberra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to authorize the city to receive and administer the 2018 Rocky Mountain High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Grant in the amount of $363,246 on behalf of the North Metro Task Force.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? Seeing none, this is a vote with your button, please. Okay. Good. Motion carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item is a authorization for the city manager, and this is Ms. Byrd.
I move to authorize the submission of a grant application by the Police Department to Rocky Mountain High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area for an amount up to $650,000 for the 2019 grant year to be applied to the operations of the North Metro Task Force.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? Seeing none, this is again a vote with your light, please. And the motion carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item is item B4. Mr. Canberra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move, based on the recommendation of the city manager, to determine that the public interest will be best served by authorizing cumulative expenses in 2018 with the North Metro Task Force for calendar year 2018 for cost not to exceed $606,586.
Mr. Demott? We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? If not, this is also a vote with your lights. And this motion also carries on a 7-0 vote. Next item up is Council's Bill number 44. Ms. Byrd?
I move to pass Councilor's Bill number 44 on first reading, providing for a supplemental appropriation of funds to the 2017 budget of the General, Legacy Ridge Golf Course, Walnut Creek Golf Preserve, Investigation Recoveries, and Parks, Open Space, and Trails Funds.
Ms. Seitz? Is that a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by council? This is a roll call vote. Ms. Parker?
DeCambra.
Yes.
Demott. Pinter.
Yes.
Seitz.
Yes.
Scully.
Yes.
Atchison.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Motion carries on a 7-0 vote. And I thank the council. At this point, that concludes the business of the Westminster City Council for tonight. However, we will stay in a session as the Westminster Economic Development Authority Board of Directors. And at this point, I would consider a motion from a board member for item 2A. Ms. Seitz?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the minutes of the October 23rd, 2017 meeting as presented.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. We move on to item 3A1. This is adoption of resolution number 181. I have a motion. Ms. Seitz?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 181, authorizing the executive director of the Westminster Economic Development Authority to execute a parking lease agreement between the Westminster Economic Development Authority and Eaton Street Affordable Housing LLC for 118 designated parking spaces in the downtown Westminster C2 parking garage.
Ms. Pinter?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Before you take a vote, this is one that I have previously abstained on because one of the partners involved in this had made a contribution to my campaign earlier this month. So I will be abstaining from all three of these items as they all pertain to the same company. Are there any comments or questions by members of the authority? Ms. Seitz?
Thank you. I just want to quickly say, I'm sorry. I just want to quickly say that I am thankful that we have a staff that is able to plan and craft deals in order to incent affordable housing to come to this premier location in Westminster. The range of AMI, area median income, is incredibly impressive, and one of the reasons we were able to make this go forward was because staff was incredibly thoughtful of how we can leverage our assets in order to help our residents. So thank you for that.
Other comments from the authority? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Ms. Parker?
Demott.
Yes.
Pinter.
Yes.
Seitz.
Yes.
Scully.
Yes.
Atchison.
Abstain.
Byrd.
Yes.
DeCambra.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries on a 6-0 vote with one abstention. Moving on to the next item, resolution number 182. Ms. Seitz, you're still up.
I move to adopt resolution number 182, authorizing the executive director of the Westminster Economic Development Authority to execute a parking license agreement between the Westminster Economic Development Authority and Eaton Street Retail LLC for up to 66 non-exclusive parking spaces in the downtown Westminster C2 parking garage.
Do I have a second on the motion? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by any member of the authority? Seeing none, this is also a roll call vote. Ms. Parker?
Pinter,
Yes.
Sights,
Yes.
Scully,
Yes.
Atchison,
Abstain.
Bird,
Yes.
DeCambra,
Yes.
Demott.
Motion carries on a 6-0 vote with one abstention. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 183. And Ms. Pinter.
Yes, I move to adopt resolution number 183, authorizing the executive director of the Westminster Economic Development Authority to execute an easement between Westminster Economic Development Authority, Eaton Street Affordable Housing LLC, and Eaton Street Retail LLC for ingress and egress over the downtown Westminster C2 garage stairwells and for the operation and maintenance of a backup generator on the top floor of the downtown Westminster C2 parking garage.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Scully, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by any member of the authority? Seeing none, this is also a roll call vote. Ms. Parker, if you would, please.
Sights, Scully,
Yes.
Atchison,
Abstain.
Bird,
Yes.
DeCambra,
Yes.
Demott, Pinter.
Yes.
Motion carries on a 6-0 vote with one abstention. Members of the authority, we are finished with the Westminster Economic Development Authority. We do still have to finish up one post-meeting item that we started earlier. So we will take about a 5-minute short break, and then we'll reconvene as the city council in study session. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your business tonight.